try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine, from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place. I wanna be first, work till it hurts. Dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine, from pain that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep, move feet, hurt it easy.
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing this morning? How are you doing this morning? Elwood, Damien, what's up? Frozen, what up, brother? What up? What's up? I would Ramsey and get the Raiders pick and get Hunter. I don't know what makes you think that we'll get anywhere close to a first round draft pick for Jalen Ramsey if he's traded. We paid a fourth and a tight end for him. And that was a couple years ago when he was a couple years younger. There's no way we're getting anywhere close to a first round pick for Jalen Ramsey. Oh, good morning. This team got me beyond flustered. Morning, Big C. Nobody wants to play with T. Hill. He is a cancer. I honestly don't believe it's that as much as the way this team is being built up. You can believe it's Tyreek Hill all you want, and you can place the blame on him. That I believe more so than anything that people don't want to be here because of the way this team is getting put together. A third for Hunter. They got a third for. All right, yeah. I knew it was a third or a fourth. Like, I don't. Again, you can blame Tyreek Hill just like the masses blame Tua for all our downfalls. But who would want to play for a team that a general manager who doesn't know how to put a winning team together? Michael, I don't believe it. I don't believe people care enough about Tyreek Hill's personal life that I can't play here. I can't play in sunny, beautiful Miami with no state income taxes because of Tyreek Hill. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. Not to mention, they know that Tyreek Hill isn't going to be here for long. He might not even be here for the season, let alone long term. So you're gonna leave somewhere when Tyreek's probably out the door anyway. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Again, let's not create narratives when people put that out there enough times that people think it's a fact. That's not a fact. That's something someone believes, and they're trying to make it a narrative and trying to instill it into everybody else. I don't believe Jalen Ramsey cares that Tyreek Hill got in an argument with his wife the other day. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Frozen baby steps. I feel like we're taking huge leaps and bounds into screwing this team up. I feel like we've went a million steps backwards in just what free agency started a month and a half ago. If that, I don't even think maybe a month ago. I mean, I think for the most part, we all thought before free agency started that we was going to go out, be aggressive, and have a really good team to go to battle with this year. And now free agency has passed. We're a week outside of the draft, and we're talking about trading possibly our two best players. Not only trading our two best players, but not getting the draft capital that those two players are worth, not getting a massive salary cap reduction. So what are we doing? We're going to go trade our two best players, get a fourth and two fourth round picks or something like that, and still have to pay them their salaries this year. Bro, that's crazy. And then we're supposed to compete with a bunch of rookies filling those holes. We're going to trade. We're already a corner down. We don't have a corner two on this team. And now we're going to take away our corner one also. Michael, I don't believe if Campbell was worried about winning or worried, I think Campbell left because he wanted to finish his career where it started. That's what I believe. I believe Calais Campbell wanted to finish his career where it started, and because he could have went to Baltimore. Frozen, I don't believe we're trying to win this year. I don't believe they're trying to put a team together that's going to compete for anything this year. And that makes me question, Stephen Ross gave us that status quo speech, statement, whatever it was. But what was the conversation behind closed doors? Because I don't think that Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel are naive enough to believe that they can do this without the blessing of Stephen Ross and keep their jobs. Michael, I agree. Chris Grier sucks. But I feel like there had to have been some kind of conversation behind closed doors that, hey, I had to say that for the fans to get the fans off my back, but this is the reality. Go ahead, do the things you got to do. You're safe. Because I don't believe, I just can't believe someone's that idiotic, that stupid, that they would go and do this to this franchise, not go out and make the signings needed, not go out and address key holes, not offer Calais Campbell as much money as the Arizona Cardinals did. Let him walk out the door. Not press Teron Armstead to come back. Not go out and sign any big name free agents besides a guard coming off a major injury. I just can't believe they're naive enough to think that they can go into next year and win. And that's cool, Craig. Ross can want one of them quarterbacks from next year's draft. But he can't have Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel get their hands on him. Like, I'm fed up with this team at this point. Like, what are we doing? A team that I feel like was so very close, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I apologize. It's that time of the year. A team that was so very close to competing in 2023. And listen, I watched a video from a content creator from 2 weeks ago. They dip in every once in a while and they say hello. I know the shots were fired at me because it was me and one other person that had said it. And she said it was two people. They were not 2023. We had a team. We were stacked. We were playing such good football. We were dominating teams. This offense looked unstoppable. We were running the ball. We had a team that was built to win in the playoffs. We were on the verge of getting some home field games for the playoffs, and then the injury bug hit. And she made a point of saying, "Oh, injuries. Are we really going to blame injuries? And saying, "Oh, well, they were all on the defensive side of the ball. Why was the offense playing bad?" First off, no, they weren't. Jalen Waddle was hurt. He had missed time. Tyreek Hill had gotten the ankle injury against the Tennessee Titans. He was never the same after that. Not to mention our offensive line was in shambles. Connor Williams out for the year. Isaiah Wynn out for the year. Teron Armstead played 10 games maybe. Austin Jackson missed a bunch of games. Like, our offensive line was in shambles, but you fail to mention that or fail to take that into account. Xavier Howard missing the rest of the end of the season. Javon Howland, both knees hurt. We didn't have a pass rusher in the building. Van Ginkel out. Jalen Phillips out. I'm so upset and flabbergasted right now. Bradley Chubb out. Cameron Good out. But we were supposed to overcome it. Because I keep hearing, well, the Ravens do this, the Chiefs do this, again, 100 times, if I have to say it a million times, Tua Tagovailoa is not Josh Allen. He is not Lamar Jackson. He is not Patrick Mahomes. Each team that you're saying is overcoming the injuries has one of these great quarterbacks. Can we stop doing that? Can we stop trying to put Tyreek or Tua Tagovailoa on a pedestal with Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson, with Patrick Mahomes? Can we stop comparing them as quarterbacks and saying, well, Josh Allen can do it. Well, Lamar Jackson can do it. Well, Patrick Mahomes can do it. No, they're not. We don't have that. Tua is not that. And I'm so sick of hearing how bad Tua is, but they want to compare him with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson all the time. They sit there and say how bad Tua is, how bad he is. but you want to hold them to the same standard as you hold Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Make it make sense. It don't. So a team that was so very close, our offensive line, we were depleted by injuries. Retool. Guess what they did? They didn't address the offensive line at all. If anything, we got worse. We let Connor Williams walk, which was understandable. He was coming off a serious injury. But we went into the season with Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones starting at the guard positions. Absolutely horrible. If we would have made improvements to those positions, if we would have made improvements to those two guard positions, I think we would have been all right. And then, of course, Tua went out. Tua ends up missing 6 games. We missed the playoffs by a game. If Tua stays healthy last year and we address the guard position, we're a 12-win team. We're a 12-win team. So that brings us to this season. So last year we missed the playoffs by 1 game. Just one game, where our starting quarterback missed 6 games. We missed the playoffs by 1 game. Our starting quarterback missed 6 games. We had a trash offensive line last year. Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg were absolutely horrible. Our pass rushers, Bradley Chubb never ended up coming back. Jalen Phillips came back for a cup of coffee, then he was hurt again. Chop Robinson, our first-round draft pick, he didn't get it going until the last 6 games of the year. So we missed the playoffs by 1 game with a trash offensive line, with our quarterback missing 6 games, without having much of a pass rush until the back half of the year. So what do you think you would do? What do you think what would be the smart answer? What would be the smart answer? You come into this season, you come into this offseason, and guess what? There's a bunch of free agent guards that we can go get. What do? We sign one. Well, now Calais Campbell and Teron Armstead are out the door. Still, there was players available that we could have went and got to make up for that. We're getting our pass rushers back hopefully this year. Hopefully Bradley Chubb's back in healthy. Hopefully Jalen Phillips can come back healthy. Chop Robinson should be that much better. If we would have signed 3 decent players in free agency and then went into the draft and grabbed another 3 players, we would have been all right. Now that's assuming Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy, which that's you can't assume that. But we're in a position where we got to assume it because we signed him to a long-term contract. So what else can you do but hope that Tua stays healthy? What else can you do but hope Tua stays healthy? But if you would have went out and got a starting caliber corner, if you would have went out and got a starting caliber defensive tackle and 1 more starting caliber guard, our offensive line would have been pretty much wrapped up. You got Daniels and 1 other guard. Our offensive line should be good. Yeah, we got to worry about how good Patrick Paul is, but guess what? We take a tackle in the 4th round of this year's draft, 3rd round of this year's draft, just in case. So the offensive line should be good. We got receivers. We got Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he's giving us shit off the field. I don't care. If he's not committing murders, rapes, child abuse, beating his wife, I don't overly care about that stuff. I mean, you guys can care about it. Is it a distraction? Yes. Am I happy about it? No. But let's just say talent-wise, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, you went and get Nick Westbrook. The offense should have been good. Offense should be good. You got Jonnu. And then on the defensive side of the ball, yeah, maybe Calais moves on. I believe if we would have made some free agency pickups and you offer Calais a little bit more money, he would have stayed. So let's say you add a starting caliber defensive tackle. You add a starting caliber cornerback in free agency. And we could have afforded to do it. So then you're able to go into this draft, still draft team needs, but they're not as drastic a team needs. They're just giving us that extra ammo for the season. And I felt like we could be a really good team this year. I really do. But obviously Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel, and Stephen Ross have different visions of this team. I don't understand it. You've tied yourself down to these bad contracts, and now you want to get rid of these players, but those contracts are still there. You're trying to rebuild a team when you got a quarterback that you got to pay $50, $55, $60 million a year over the next few years. You got a wide receiver that if you trade him now, we lose the extra $500,000. You got a corner that's got a multi-year deal that is declining. That if we trade away right now, we lose a bunch of money. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This isn't the year to tear it down. This was not the year to tear it down. Next year's the year to tear it down. If we go and lay an egg in the first 5 weeks of the season, then you trade Jalen Ramsey. You trade Tyreek Hill during the season. You trade whatever players you can trade and get whatever you can get. But not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Oh, man. Very frustrating. This team, they're confusing as all hell. Confusing as all hell to me. It drives me nuts. It makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest. I was really expecting us to come out and compete this year. I really was. I thought with them guys on the hot seat that there was a chance that this was going to be the best team that we had in the Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier era. But how wrong was I? How wrong was I? So Ian Ramport posted this today. The Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowl corner Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025, per me and Tom Pelissero. Miami and Ramsey do $25.1 million fully guaranteed this season. Could be parting ways. Fully guaranteed. That means we got to pay him $25 million no matter what. $25 million no matter what. Elwood says, no problem. We got Zach Wilson, Borum, Madison, Cam, Storm, Burns. Who could you ask for anything more? Elwood, I know you're joking. This isn't a joking matter. Oh, man. Jesus. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, all right, Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel's jobs are on the line. They're on the line. They're going to do what they're going to do. Chris Grier finally admitted that the offensive line wasn't good enough, that they were going to address it, that they were going to, you know what I mean? Calais Campbell was such a meaningful player for us last year that there was no way that if he didn't retire, they weren't going to make sure he came back as a Miami Dolphin. Craig, stop with come on, man. Again, that's creating narratives. I more so think that Jalen Ramsey doesn't want to play for a team that doesn't know how to put a roster together to compete than he's worried about Tyreek Hill and his baby's mama. Agree, Bonnie. Obviously, I would be more than shocked if Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel aren't here next year, which I think is a huge mistake. Trying to get you off the ledge. I appreciate it, Elwood. And I think teams, listen, you can feel the way you feel, but you're a quitter, Tyreek Hill. You're a quitter. The guy played the whole year with a wrist injury. The guy didn't even have to play one down for you. Not one down. He makes a bad decision. Was it a bad decision on his part? Absolutely. Absolutely. It wasn't Tyreek Hill's brightest moment. It wasn't his best moment. But the guy, that just shows, a guy can give his all to you and he makes one bad decision in life or one bad decision on the football field and you turn your back on him completely. Like, come on. This guy is a top 5 receiver we've had all time on the Miami Dolphins, all time in 3 seasons. Stats wise, he's a top 5 Miami Dolphin wide receiver all time in 3 seasons. One what, Elwood? I don't think we even get a 3rd round for Ramsey. I really don't. I don't think we get a 3rd round. Maybe we get a 3rd. But again, if Chris Greer's making them picks for a 3rd, if Chris Greer's making those picks in the 3rd round, man, we're turning Jalen Ramsey into a Cam Smith. Chris Greer obviously can't draft cornerbacks. What if we don't trade Ramsey? Listen, there's not a world where we can't compete this year, but they got to get their heads out of their asses. They got to talk to Tyreek. If we want to compete this year, Tyreek Hill's got to be on this team. Bottom line, I don't care what you say. Tyreek Hill needs to be on this team if we want to compete. Jalen Ramsey's got to be on this team if we want to compete. You go and you call Stephon Gilmore, you bring him in. There's not shit for defensive tackles available. Maybe you bring back Raekwon Davis for depth, but you're going to have to take 2 in the first few rounds of the NFL draft. I'm going to do a draft right now where I pick the players for each teams. And, we take a look at, we can get some good players. We really can. But Chris Greer, it's going to take effort on Chris Greer's part. We're going to have to be movers and shakers. Justin Simmons, absolutely, Timothy. That's another player that they'd have to call immediately. Justin Simmons, Stephon Gilmore, maybe bring Xavier in, see what he's got left in the tank. Jordan Phillips, you remember Jordan Phillips? Bring him in, another depth piece on the defensive line. Go get Kendra, the guard. And then we draft those positions too. And this team could still compete this year. I believe this team still could compete. But if we go and trade Jalen Ramsey, when we go trade Tyreek Hill, it's over. Bonnie, I think Ramsey's more like, what are you guys doing? you guys aren't obviously trying to build a winner. Wow. I'm trying. Listen, you know what I mean? He's getting towards the end of his career. You think he wants to be in Miami if they're not trying to compete? He don't want to do a redo. He don't want to, you know what I mean? Listen, they can renegotiate Tua. That's $19 million right there. They can turn Jordan Brooks's salary into a signing bonus. That's another $7 million. They can give Zach Sealer a contract extension. That's another $7-8 million. So right there, that's 14 plus 19. That's $34 million right there. That's $34 million right there. I'm not sure how the Ramsey trade will affect the cap. I mean, if it's before June 1st, I think it's 14 million. I'd have to check it out. I just seen that this morning. I think Ramsey likes to compete. I don't think he wants to be on a team that he sees going down the drain. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's got one ring, but nobody wants to sit here and lose. Nobody wants to sit here and lose. Trust that. Again, if Calais would have stayed if we would have made some moves. I really do. I think Calais would have stayed if we would have made some moves. This damn thing. Morning, Scotty. So we're gonna make every pick in this draft. Try to do a trade for the Dolphins, see what happens. And I'm gonna pick where I think each team is who they're gonna draft. See, I thought it said 14 million, Scotty. I thought it was 14 million, which makes it even worse. All right, let it go. Let it go. Again, I will be making every trade for us. Or not every trade, every pick for every team. Every pick for every team. Select all teams. Yes. All right, here she blows. Start draft. Number one, I think it's pretty clear at this point. The Tennessee Titans are going Cam Ward. I think they're going Cam Ward 100%. Number two, Cleveland could go quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, They could take a shot at Travis Hunter, who's a great player, but I think adding Abdul Carter along that defensive line is just too tempting. The New York Giants, another team that could go quarterback, Shedeur Sanders here, but they added 2 quarterbacks, so that don't really make sense to me. I could see them adding Russ Wilson and still drafting a quarterback, or adding Jameis Winston, still drafting a quarterback. But the fact that you added both of those leads me to believe you're not going to address the quarterback position in the first round in this draft. So they're going to go with possibly the best player in this whole draft. They're going to take Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter. The New England Patriots. They could go in a multitude of different areas. They could go try to get their young quarterback, another wide receiver. They could get a edge rusher, but I think that they're going to stay on the offensive side of the ball, and they're going to make sure that their young quarterback's well protected. I think they go with Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. That leaves the Jaguars on the board. Jaguars could go corner, defensive tackle. And I see them going defensive tackle, and Mason Graham is the cream of the crop in this year's draft. Now we got the Oakland. Well, no, they're not the Oakland Raiders. The silver and black. Silver and black. Silver and black. The Las Vegas Raiders. Listen, the Las Vegas Raiders, they need a quarterback. I don't think Geno's the long-term answer there. But their coach is listen, he's old as dirt. He's trying to win now. They feel like they're set at quarterback for this year. I could see them taking a wide receiver, maybe a defensive back, but I believe they go and they draft Ashton Gentry. I think they take Gentry. Now we got the New York stank-ass Jets. You know I hate them. I hate the damn Jets. They're straight garbage. I hope nothing but bad things upon them. They could go in a multitude of areas too. They could go wide receiver and maybe get Golden, Burden. They could go Shedeur Sanders. But I think that they go offensive line as well. There's also Tyler Warren, a lot of speculation about Tyler Warren. But I think they go offensive line too. And I think they go draft the big offensive tackle from Missouri, Ahmad Membu. And that hurts me dearly because I love this guy. Carolina Panthers next up on that board. I can see them adding they need help for their young quarterback. I could see them going defense or wide receiver. At this point in this draft, they had the opportunity to get their pick of the wide receivers. So I'm going to say they go out and get McMillan, and they make McMillan their number one draft choice. Next brings up the Saints. It just came out that, listen, Derek Carr may not be able to play this year. They're in desperate need of a quarterback. I think this is as far as Shedeur Sanders falls. I think they go out and they draft Shedeur Sanders at the number 9 pick. Number 10, the Bears could use another offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. But listen, Tyler Warren is just too good for them to pass up at this position. I think they go and draft Tyler Warren. San Francisco, they could use offensive linemen. They could use a corner. I do think they address the cornerback position. With this pick, I think they go Jahdae Barron. I think the San Francisco goes with Barron. That leaves the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys could use a defensive tackle, running back, linebacker, wide receiver. This one's tough for me, but I'm gonna say that they surprise people and they go and they draft Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. Omarion Hampton. 0% Elwood. 0. I just don't think he wants the embarrassment in case he does fall. And that puts us on the board. Now, how do I go about this? Do I go about this like Tyreek Hill's not on the team? Do I address this draft like Jalen Ramsey's not on the team? Because Will Johnson is sitting there. Available to us. Will Johnson is sitting there available to us. But there's so many holes on this team. What to do. What to do. Do I try to get them draft picks or do I take Will Johnson? Elwood, I think they're going to go Barron. I do. I think San Francisco is really going to go Barron. I'm not just doing that so Will Johnson fell to the Dolphins. I really think they're going Barron. I don't think there's a team that's willing to trade out them first 12 picks, Scotty. I don't think there is. I think everybody in that top 12 wants to be there. I think everybody in that top 12 wants to be there, Scotty. I'm gonna draft Will Johnson. That brings up the Colts. Colts really could use a tight end. They're gonna go Colston Loveland right here. That brings on the Falcons. The Falcons need a pass rusher. I'm going to go with James Pierce Jr. Brings up the Cardinals. Cardinals could use someone playing opposite at the other wide receiver position. Matthew Golden is a burner. It's like the Cardinals taking Matthew Golden out of Texas. Cincinnati needs help on the defensive side of the football. Jalen Walker still being there is huge. They run to the podium and grab Jalen Walker. Seattle They need offensive line help. They see Kelvin Banks still available. That's their pick. Tampa needs help in the secondary. Nick Emawari still sitting there. They go ahead and take Nick Emawari. Broncos next on the board. They could use another weapon for Bo. I see them taking Emeka Ubaka from Ohio State. Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, Pittsburgh could use some defensive help, but Pittsburgh's always been known as a defensive team. I'm going to jump out the window here. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Jackson Dart. Chargers, they're building a team through the trenches. Jim Harbaugh, I think he goes off offensive line again. I think he likes Gray Zabel a lot. I think he goes with Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. Shoot. Green Bay Packers. You know, Green Bay could always use a big name receiver, but they never grab one. I think they would like another pass rusher on this team. I think they go and they draft Michael Williams out of Georgia. Minnesota Vikings on the board. They could use some offensive line help. They go and grab Josh Simmons. The Texans, they could also use some offensive line help. I think they go after Josh Conroy Lee Jr. Let me see what you guys are all saying. Make sure y'all hit that like button. The Rams. The Rams, I thought was another possibility for Jackson Dart. But they could use an offensive lineman too. They could use a linebacker. They could use a pass rusher. They grabbed two great pass defensive players last year. I think they add another one here in Shamar Stewart. They're trying to build a very strong defensive team. Shamar Stewart. Then you got the Ravens up on the board. The Ravens could use offensive line help, cornerback help. Listen, Tyler Booker's not a scheme fit for us, but Tyler Booker moves people out the way. He is a hard-nosed, rough-nosed type of football player. He moves people out the way. I think he's a perfect player for the Baltimore Ravens. I like Tyler Booker. You got the Detroit Lions. They need linebacker help, pass rusher help. They suffered a ton of injuries last year. Jahad Campbell. I think they take Jahad Campbell. Washington, I think they could use some pass rusher help. I think they go after Mike Green. Marshall, defensive end. Then you got the Buffalo Bills. They need corner help in the worst way. I think they go Revel Jr. You got the Kansas City Chiefs who need some offensive line help. They go out and they grab Wyatt Milliam, West Virginia. And that takes you to the Super Bowl champions. A bunch of great players on the board for them to take. I see them taking another guy along the trenches, Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, to help booster them. That's huge. Now this is where I live a little dangerous. This is where I do something a little, make a trade. Cleveland, boom. Select teams. We go down here to the Miami Dolphins. Pick 32. Pick 135. Oh, shoot. Pick 135. And a third rounder next year. Offer trade. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm trading up to the top of the second round because Kenneth Grant is still there and he needs to be a Miami Dolphin. Kenneth Grant needs to be a Miami Dolphin. 100%. 100%. Giants on the board. I'll try to go faster, guys. I think they go Jalen Milroe. They get their quarterback in the second round. I can see Tennessee going Jack Sawyer. Jacksonville needs a wide receiver, Burden. The Raiders need some defensive help. They like Carson. Patriots, Jaden Higgins, wide receiver help. You got the Chicago Bears. Walter Nolan falls right into their lap. The Saints, they need a cornerback. Benjamin Morris falls to them. Back on the Bears. They're looking at running backs. Trayvon Henderson. Jets. They still want a tight end. I think they like Arroyo from Miami. San Francisco. I think they got Derek Harmon. Dallas needs a corner. They're going to go get Trey Amos. Colts need an offensive lineman. Jonah. Atlanta needs a corner. They're going to take Thomas. Cardinals need offensive line help. Cleveland's going to come back to Quinn Ewers. The Bengals need defensive end help. Prince, or whatever the hell his name is. Seattle needs corner help. Harrison. You got the Broncos. They're looking running back. Johnson. Seattle needs some wide receiver help. Trey Harris. Oh, Tampa Bay defensive end help. Landon Jackson. Green Bay, some wide receiver. Jalen Noel. Need some tight end help. Fannin. Buffalo Bills on the clock. They need safety help. Malachi Starks, unfortunately. Panthers, wide receiver. Jalen Royals. Another wide receiver off the board. Beck. Baltimore, they go get a pass rusher, JT. The Lions, offensive line help. Membo. Washington. They need some corner help. Darian Porter. Buffalo Bills back on the clock. They're going to double dip in the safeties with Watts. Kansas City Chiefs, running back, Judkins. And the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take Andrew Mukumba. So that's 2 rounds I took for the Miami Dolphins. And I'd be super happy. Will Johnson and the teammates, Will Johnson and Kenneth Grant, I'd be super stoked if we could somehow pull both those players off. I'd be super stoked if we could get both those players. I don't like seeing Malachi Starks fall to the Buffalo Bills. That'd be horrible. Yeah, all right. You listen, you'll be surprised. I've seen mocks where Milroe's going in the second, Hewer's going in the second. You never know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Elwood, we're in a position that we gotta, and I don't think that we didn't take the best player available per se. I don't I'm ready for this to get over with. To be honest with you, like I'm completely lost at the direction they're trying to go. Maybe they don't draft none of the team needs. Maybe they just go way off script. Who knows? Who knows? Who can really bet on this team at this point? I know I'm beyond frustrated. This season isn't going in the direction I thought it was gonna when free agency was when we were getting ready for free agency. There was an excitement. Uh, I was hopeful. I was encouraged, and then free agency hit, and we went and got James Daniels. And other than that, it was just disappointment after disappointment. And then Tehran retires, and then Calais doesn't come back, and Tyreek can't keep his nose clean. Now the stuff with Jalen Ramsey, oh, it's like I want to go to sleep and not wake up from this. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's like, what are we going to wake up to next? I'd like us not to be able to trade Ramsey at all. Just because I know what that entitles. Doug just posted that an anonymous NFL coach on Tua Tagovailoa at the annual NFL owners meeting said, if they don't want him, we'll gladly take him off their hands. Do you find that GM immediately and make that deal? Do you find that GM and make that deal immediately? Again, Doug said an anonymous NFL coach on Tua Tagovailoa at the annual NFL owners meetings. If they don't want him, we will gladly take him off their hands. Now, I think a lot of people, if it wasn't for Tua's injuries, I think a lot of Dolphins fans would be eating crow if Tua went to another team. Now, I think if we can trade Tua, I think we do it just because of the injury history. But you got a lot of Dolphin fans that just don't like his play. Just don't think he's good enough, and I'm not one of them. I think Tua can be a great quarterback. I don't think he's Josh Allen. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes. But I think Tua could be a multi-time Pro Bowler. I think Tua could win multiple Super Bowls. See, this damn salary cap don't make no sense to me, Scotty. You would think it's salary cap is mind-blowingly weird. You would think, hey, this guy gets paid $50 million. If he's not on your team no more, you shouldn't have to pay him $50 million. You know what I mean? The other team will pay him $50 million. They take his contract, but it doesn't work that way. We're not getting enough in caps. We're not getting enough draft capital from Jalen Ramsey to warrant doing that. Like, what are we really going to get? A fifth round pick for Jalen Ramsey? That's enough to pay $14 million in dead cap, $12 million in dead cap. It's just stupid. Stupid. This whole situation is stupid. Thanks to Chris fucking Greer. Thanks a lot, fucking Chris Greer, motherfucker. Sorry about my language. I'm so pissed off about this dude, man. You turn this team into fucking shit. When we got the haul for the Texans for Laramie Tunsil, man, that was the opportunity for us to really build this team, man. And then we got the haul from San Francisco for them to move up to our pick so they could get their court Trey Lance. That was another opportunity, and we fumbled the ball on both of them. We fumbled the ball on both those opportunities to build a successful franchise, a franchise that could compete for years and years and years. If we had a competent GM, we'd be the Philadelphia Eagles right now. With as many draft picks as Chris Greer has fucked up, we'd be the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Between the Laramie Tunsil trade and the San Francisco trade for Trey Lance, we'd be San Francisco right now. Who knows, Scotty? I can't believe that there wasn't a conversation behind closed doors between Stephen Ross, Chris Greer, and Mike McDaniel where he okayed them to have a losing season this year. I think he said one thing to us fans to keep us quiet for the time being, but I can't believe that Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are this incompetent that this is the best they can do. This is what they think is best for this team. This is the team that they're going to put on the field to save their jobs. This is absolutely mind-numbing. I can't keep taking this on a daily basis. Like, oh, next person wants to be traded. Next person wants to be traded. But this is what we get for bringing. You know what type of guy Jalen Ramsey is. You know what I mean? You know what type of guy he is. I can't say I'm surprised that Jalen Ramsey wants out now. Like you've done so great for us too. Like, let's not pretend that Buffalo's third string running back wasn't beating you down the field and catching touchdowns on you, bro. Let's not act like you're so great. Yeah, I don't see the 1 year turnaround 2026. I think we're going to be in deeper holes than we can come out of. Because again, you're expecting Jalen Waddle to step up and be this top-notch number one receiver. You're expecting players that I don't think are capable of being top-notch guys to step up and to fill the shoes of top-notch guys. Who's going to fill Jalen Ramsey's shoes out there? Who's going to fill Tyreek Hill's shoes? And even if Jalen Ramsey even if Jalen Waddle does a decent enough job of being a number one receiver, who's filling Jalen Waddle's shoes? You got Patrick Paul going to try to fill the shoes of Teron Armstead. Now, will he stay healthy for the whole season? Maybe, but I don't think he's going to play as good as Teron would for 13 games. Now we got to, who knows when we address the defensive tackle position in the draft? Do we wait to the second round, the third round, the fourth round, fifth round? And then we got to hope that they can come in and play at a level that Calais did. We got 2 outside linebackers coming back from injury that God only knows how good they're going to be. We brought in 2 safeties that those are huge question marks. I mean, it's depressing. The whole situation is depressing. I honestly wouldn't be shocked at all by anything that happens in this draft. I would not be shocked if we drafted Tyler Warren in the first round. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. They can't get that right, Elwood. There's no way they'll get it right. There's no way that they will properly set themselves up to get Arch Manning. There's no way. Scotty, he's done a great job when it comes to spending money, putting together top-notch facilities for his players. Where he has failed us as an owner is his ability not to move on to players. He's too loyal. He's too loyal to these guys, man. He's too loyal. He is too loyal. Yeah, I don't know about that, brother. I think Arch Manning's going to be the real deal. He's got a rocket arm. He's fast as hell. Pretty sure he ran 20 miles an hour. I think Arch is going to be fantastic. Absolutely, Scotty. He failed all that. He failed all that. But to be honest, that's probably why he kept his job. You know, this lawsuit's still going on. The lawsuit with Brian Flores is still going on. And Chris Grier, you don't want him switching over the Brian Flores side. You know what I mean? You don't want Chris Grier flipping over and joining the side of Brian Flores. Because Chris Grier probably knows everything. Yeah, I just can't wait till this draft happens. I'm over it. I'm frustrated. You know, I gotta I gotta temper my expectations of this team, which is hard. This is my first year covering the team. You know what I mean? And in prior years, I was able to, when the Dolphins were bad, I could get pissed off and turn the TV off and not watch. Now, mind you, me not watching consisted of me turning the game off for the final 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Because I like to punish myself, I guess. But now not only do I got to watch every painstaking moment of it, I got to get on and talk about it in depth. Before, when they lost, I'd just try to put it out my head and move on to the next week. Now I can't do that. Now I got to come on here and discuss it with you fine folks. And that's rough. This NFL draft is, I was excited for it because I've never been a big college football guy. And this year I've dug into so many different prospects at so many different positions that I know so many players in this draft that it's like crazy to me that, before I knew like, who the top receiver is, who the top running back is, who the top quarterback is. And besides that, that was pretty much it. Now I know the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th best player at each position. And I'm excited for the 2nd, 3rd rounds. I've never been excited for 2nd, 3rd rounds before. You know what I mean? 2nd, 3rd rounds, I didn't even know half these players that were drafted. Now I can see the board approaching and be excited by our chances of who we get for the 3rd round. You know what I mean? Avery Johnson, former Elite 11 quarterback from Kansas State Wildcats. Is he the one that took Riley Leonard's job? Because Riley Leonard was at Kansas, or no, Will Johnson was at Kansas State, I think. Or Will Howard. Why I keep calling him Will Johnson? Will Howard. He was at Kansas State, I think. And then he transferred to. Did Avery Johnson take Will Howard's job at Kansas State? Yeah, I'm surprised that Harbaugh never became the coach of the Miami Dolphins. They just didn't ever seen the matchup. When Harbaugh was available, we didn't need a coach. When Harbaugh wasn't available, we needed a coach. But yeah. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button for me. Okay, yeah, Miller, I'm going to have to check him out. I haven't really looked into him too much, but I did see that Will Howard transferred from Kansas State, and they were talking about the quarterback that came in on the John. Make sure you guys check out them John Gruden episodes. They're very, I like them a lot. They're very informational. They give you an opportunity to see the players, meet them, get to know them in depth. And see how smart they are, how intelligent they are, what kind of player they are. Just an in-depth look. You know what I mean? Skyler was from Case. Yeah, I know he was. I know he was, brother. All right, guys. I'll see you later. And keep your heads up, fins up. Peace.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine. From pain that's a blessing, new focus, no guessing. Just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft, you can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing